Hey everyone, good morning. Previously, we talked about how to save your Power BI into the new format, which is a project format. Within that format, you're able to quickly find things and swap them with correct one. For example, in the last time, we swapped a URL, which is wrong previously. And once we have that make change, we made 7 instance changes. After that, all the footers has been updated. But some users may complain about that. Why use that for only 7 pages? It's totally making sense. By the time I set up the environment using different softwares and also the method that it has been through, you already probably have done the change manually, page to pages. So today is for us to sit down and review the whole process and see what are the benefits coming from this new format. In an environment that you develop a dashboard, you're not like expecting the dashboard going to be like say still. Over time, it's going to be involved in development. So in that way, it's better to keep track of what has been changed and also by who. So today we're going to integrate that project into a version control system, which is a Git. And specifically, we're going to use the Git and also GitHub and also VS Code to help us to smooth out this Power BI development. Let's dive right in. So first, let's have a look at this file. Remember last time we saved this as a pbip, which is a project file. Within that, you can see there's several levels of hierarchies. You have repo folder, semantic folder, and also the pbip, which is a pointer. Under the report is register all the things that needed for your visual layer. For example, how many pages you have, each page is what visual you have, and for each visual, what's the position and also the size. And if we're going back to one layer and going back into the semantic model, it's registered about your table, database, also the connections, expressions, everything together. But there's something I also want to mention. So in the root folder, you only see 3 things, but underneath that, if we show the hidden files, it actually have 2 more things. One is the Git. We're going to come into that later on. First, let's talk about Git ignore. So Git ignore, we can see over here. So Git ignore is tell the system whenever you have a Git control, those files mentioned in the Git ignore will not be backed up. So it will stay as it is. I won't track any changes happening in these 2 files. So one of the files is local settings. The other one is the cache ABF. Settings is just very simple. When you develop on your desktop, you track some personal settings from your desktop. So that's the local settings. Another one is more important, which is the cache one. Cache one, you can actually find this file from the semantic model and also this PBI, and this is the cache. So what happened to this cache is it actually has a very big size. This is the biggest size across this whole folders. The project folder. This is actually the data. So think about that. Whenever you open the Power BI report, you'll run the queries to fetch data from the source. So this are the data. So why Git is not backed up? Because Git is really tracking the change of your development. Is not tracking what the data underneath, because it's gonna be a waste code. Whenever you just refresh locally, you will get the latest data. So it's not worth to track those changes. That's why this cache is being ignored. And most important, this big size is not able to upload into GitHub. So let's going back to here to the root folder. So that's why those are the hidden things. This one is a little bit need to mention. So this one is where you ingest a virus into your root folder. This virus is going to keep track of what has been changed across this whole folder. It will track change in not only to the Power BI report folder, but also the semantic folder. So for example, if we open this pbip, so now this pbip is opened, we haven't done any changes, so which is totally fine. Let's just say somehow, someday we want to make a change. For example, this sales executive summary, I want to make this to report, okay? Once I have made this change, if I go into save and close this file, from here you can't tell what has been changed, but over the VS Code is actually tracking the change that we just done. You can see over here, we enable that. So this is kept track. Left is what it used to be, which is sales executive summary. On right hand side is what has been changed, so change to a report. So now is the time that we say, okay, this change is it legit? After all the testing and asking around, okay, yeah, that's definitely what we want to do. So what we're going to do is next step is commit this change. So we are confirmed approve this is okay. So this will be saying change summary title, right? And then we just commit. Once we commit that, it was saying the latest commit is done with a comment change summary, right? And since we have hooked this repository into a cloud GitHub as well, right now there's nothing happen over here. So if I sync the change, I hit OK. Now this has been in the cloud. You can see this little cloud icon, which means has been synchronized to the cloud, which is this one. So you just need to refresh this page, see if our latest has been reviewed. So why you need to keep the local one to the cloud? Because your local repository machine is not accessible by anyone else rather than you. That's why whenever we develop something, if it's approved and okay, we push this to a cloud, which everyone has access to this repository. We're able to see what change has been done. So we just click this comment, then you can see what has been done. So we change from the summary to a report. So, and this one is commit by a person, which is me. So that's pretty straightforward, right? You make change locally and then using the VS Code to commit that and push that to the cloud GitHub. And then people, whoever have access to the cloud GitHub, they were able to see what change has been made, right? So that's a simple 3 steps flow. So today we're going to focus on how you can implement this solution to your Power BI development cycle. I won't start from scratch, so you know each of the steps, what's the pain point, what need to be careful about. So let's start from scratch. First, I need to remove this repository. So in the GitHub, you can register as a free. Go into your repository. Right now, I have 2 simple ones, the one that I have got connected. So you just get into this one. Let's maximize this. Go into settings, delete this repository, delete. You'll say, let you type the word of the repository, delete. Now it's deleted. If I refresh that, just one repository. So this part is done. Next part is get rid of the Git tracking. That's pretty simple. Over here, we still have 3 tracks, like say has been done 3 commits. So you just simply remove this part. Yes, once this is removed, going back to here, you can see everything has been settled to ground zero. Another important thing is you want to remove the app because we want to go through the 4 steps, 4 circles. So that's why I need to remove another component, which is a Git. Git is the underlying version control system that embedded into the folder. So it's another software. So we just uninstall that. Hit OK, yes. Now it's been removed. We can go back to here, close that. So what we need to do is we just close the VS Code and reopen the VS Code again. Okay. Now this VS Code has connected to this folder and that's it. We haven't done anything. So let's start from scratch. So first you open your pbip file and save as a pbip in a dedicated folder. This way I save that as pbi-p001-ipo. In this folder, I'm reading the content from this folder from the VS Code. That's why once you install the VS Code, you open the folder, you have this naturally, which is source control. But here it's saying you're missing a part. That's the part that we uninstalled previously, which is a Git. So we just need to go into the download Git and open the website. So this is where you download. So for Windows, you can download. For Mac, you can download differently. So I have downloaded that in my folder. So I go back to here, open a new page, go into the download. So let's now show the hidden items. So that's the one. So I just double click here, minimize that. Yes. So let's go through that. Everything just as default. So no problem. We just click through. Okay, now the installation has been completed. So we untick this. We don't view the notes. Now this has been done, so all you need to do is just reload. Now you can see the interface is syncing and then look different previously. So going back to this folder, still we have VS Code open to monitor the folder, right? And then this is the source control that we're gonna set up. So since we're gonna publish this to a cloud Git repository, so we're using the GitHub, publish to the click this button. This will say, okay, seems like you're about to publish. What are you going to do with that? So before that, I want to say I want to log off myself. Pretend I'm logging as nobody. Let's just redo that again. VS Code. Okay, going to the source control. You'll scan the Git environment. We publish this to So this time is ask extension wants to sign in, use GitHub. I do allow since it's record my previous login session. So okay, and then I'm gonna authorize that. Going back to this folder, and then let's just open this folder. So now it's saying, okay, since I've connected to your Git cloud, what kind of repository you want to create? Because right now in the cloud, I only have one, which is nothing to do with this project file. So I'm going to use that private repository. And then you can see it's publishing, first commit, everything has been done. Okay, wait, now it's done. So you can go into this, go in here, refresh. Now you can see everything has been in the place. So what happened is that's the first commit we commit. I believe we committed 114. Let me check that. The source control and the change that we have done is over here, and that's 114. So that's pretty much the initial commit. You have this many from 0 to that much. Okay, now we have connected to a cloud GitHub using our VS Code. But underneath, we need to install a Git control management system, which you can download from the website. Now let's just see if we can make some changes. For example, previously we made a change about a header, right? So there's one way you can make the changes. Still just open this file. Let's just say management decide the report title shouldn't be sales executive report, should stay as sales executive summary. So what we need to do is we need to commit another change. Let's go through the process, see how it goes. So this is the report. So you can just dive into this pbip and change this to summary. Once we have done that, we can just leave everything as it is. We just save this file. You keep this file open, there's no problem. So once you have done the change, you know that actually you have made some change underneath one of the folders. That's fine. But when you back to the VS Code, since you have the Git components already embedded into this folder, how do you know that? Just view, show hidden, because this is in a place. Just keep track of the change happened in this IPO folder. It sense that, okay, for a particular file, this has been changed from the report to the summary. So if you're okay with that, saying management decide to use the previous report name, okay, we just hit commit and we click yes. This will sort of park your changes. It hasn't reflected in the cloud. If we're going to refresh, you can see it's just still 2 minutes ago or 3 minutes ago with the first commit, right? So I can click this sync change, then everything will be reflected in the cloud. Say sync change. Okay, now you'll see this origin will move up to the main, which I have done. Okay, now it has been in this way, and then I just refresh. Now you can see management has decided to use the previous name, report name. Okay, so that's where you try to commit a change, and there's several ways to do that. So since we know that you can edit the file through this beautiful URL, or you are in a rush, saying you know what to change. For example, I know some of the things need to swap. Let's going back to the URL case. Going back to here, report definition. We know that there's a URL we need to change. Find the folder. Let's just say somehow the firexcel ty ltd. Okay. Let's just say you find out, okay, this one is a little bit wrong because you want that to be including a full stop after the LTD. So you just type firexcel pty ltd full stop. So that's, you want to make a change. I just replace all. Once this has been done, you'll say 7 instance change has been tracked. You want to commit that. Okay, so this time we're going to commit in a different way. We're going to use a terminal, new terminal. So terminal is a more not that user friendly. You need to write some code to sense the change and also push that to the cloud, but it's pretty straightforward with a few steps. Normally the first step I do is make sure that I'm in the repository folder. Now I'm in the Git IPO folder. That's totally fine. So I can say Git status. This will tell us, like, say what has been changed under this folder, because this folder has a Git hidden folder. It will track the change. So this is the change has been done but hasn't been committed yet. So we need to first, like, say, you can see there's a hint saying use git add to add those changes. So we add and full stop. This will add every change into a parking space. Now, if we say git status, now you can see everything modified as green. The green means that they have been parked, ready to commit. So next step is commit. With the commit, I won't leave a message. So -m. The message will be in the double quote. Message would be, I would say, update company name into correct one. So that's the message I'm going to deliver. Once you commit that, it will say, okay, right now you have commit 7 changes with the message of update company new name into the correct one. Then you can check the git status again. This tells you, okay, right now my branch is ahead of the original. This is the original. My branch is the local one. So that's why we need to push this git to the origin, and more specifically, the origin is called main. So we're going to go into origin main, and we just hit enter. Now it'll start to push my local changes and committed change with the message into the cloud. Right now you can see nothing, right? If we're just going to refresh this page, now you can see I have updated something. It's called update company name into the correct one. We hit that. So this is the change. We change that firexcel Pty Ltd into firexcel Pty Ltd full stop. So now let's just check the git status again. Everything's up to date. We're going back to here. Everything has been like used to be. So update company name into that. So everything has been synced because all the message that I commit, all the changes that I made is being kept in this .git folder. So that's the way you can track the changes over time of your Power BI project. This indicates us that if we want to encourage a more continuous development of your Power BI, you do need to keep track of what has been changed. In the case that I need a rollback, I can roll back to a specific version or snapshot of my project, because every time I make change, system help me capture what has been changed. I control what message I will deliver in that change. And most importantly, I have segregated my development, which is a local environment, versus a cloud environment, which is the production. So in the next session, we're going to introduce, like say, multi-author environment. How do you work with other development process? For example, you have a Power BI author, which in charge of the change of the visual, but also you have another Power BI author who is in charge of the UAT or peer review. So in that process, how we do different branches and merge the branches into the main after peer review. So we're going to go through that in detail next step. So hope today's session is helpful and hope you enjoyed the session. Any questions, just leave comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. I really appreciate your involvement in this project, and see you guys in the next one.